So you're thinking about moving to Utah, but you have no clue where to start looking. You've heard of places like Salt Lake, Park City, St. George, Moab, and even Lake Powell, but you would not be able to point these places out on a map or even how close they are to one another. So whether you're looking to move to Utah for work, play, retirement, or even just because you've heard good things about living in Utah, I'm going to go over the major areas of Utah, and then we're going to dive deeper into northern Utah in future videos, so stay tuned for those. Hey, so if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in northern Utah and the surrounding areas, hit that subscribe button below, tap that bell for notifications so that you are the first one to learn about the current market and all the happenings here in Utah. My name is Matt Mia, and along with my wife Mackenzie, we are the Mia Real Estate Group, and we get calls, texts, emails every day from people just like you who are looking to move to northern Utah, and we absolutely love it. So if you're looking to move in 1 week or 1 year, reach out, give us a call, send us a text, send us an email, and we would love to help you make that smooth move to Utah. All right, so how we're going to do this is we're just going to look at the state of Utah, just to kind of in general, break it down into the different sections, and where do most people go visit, and then where do most people kind of live actually. All right, so let's take a look into Google Maps and go through this. So Utah is surrounded by Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, Arizona, and Nevada. Okay, down here in the southeast corner, this is known as the Four Corners. Kind of made up of Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona. And a pretty cool area down here is something to check out if you want to go see some pretty cool red rock formation. It's down here in Monument Valley. Now this is part of the Navajo Reservation. But what they have down here are kind of unique. The monuments is what they call it. So if you click on this here, I'll actually pull up some pictures. And this is what you see down there. It is absolutely beautiful. So southern Utah is kind of known for the kind of red rocks. So when you think of Utah, you kind of think of red rock or skiing, right? Snow and skiing. And so the southern Utah and kind of when we look up in Moab, which is kind of more central east Utah, you'll see more of the red rock. But once you get into northern Utah, you don't see the red rock, but you do get more of the mountains, trees, stuff like that, where a lot of the skiing occurs. Okay, so besides Monument Valley down here, you kind of start to move west a little bit, kind of more towards central southern Utah here. This is Lake Powell. So when you go to Lake Powell, so I've honestly lived in Utah my whole life. So I'm 35 years old. So in 35 years, my first time to Lake Powell was last year. And it is absolutely amazing. So right now it's 2022, and in the headlines you hear a lot about Lake Powell and there's no water. Well, trust me, there's plenty of water down there. It is substantially lower than typical, but it is still beautiful and definitely somewhere to check out. So there are kind of three major ramps or areas of Lake Powell that people go and visit. One is here at Waweep, okay? So this is right barely into the Arizona border. Another is Antelope Point down here. And the one in Utah is actually clear up here, called Bullfrog. So different roads, paths to take to get to these places if you're coming from like the Salt Lake area. So definitely map it out before you go, but beautiful, somewhere to definitely check out. So down here in the southwest corner of the state is St. George. So again, very popular for tourists, St. George, especially because of Zion National Park, right? Absolutely. Again, the red rock that Utah is known for is here at Zion National Park. So let's get out of this. So once you go north a little bit, so Utah kind of connects north to south by one major freeway. And this is I-15. Okay, and oops, I kind of got that in the way, but it goes through Salt Lake, Provo, and it's just this major highway. It goes all the way down to Vegas and down into LA, San Diego, California, right? So that is nice. If you want to go from Salt Lake to St. George, you take I-15 south, right? It's easy, one freeway, don't have to take any exits or anything. So pretty easy to travel north and south in the state of Utah. If you want to go to the east side here, another very popular place in Utah is Moab. And the two major national parks in the Moab area is Arches National Park and Canyonlands, right? There is a movie that they made about a hiker, Aaron Ralston, I believe his name is, who actually was hiking in the Canyonlands National Park. A boulder fell on his arm, trapped him for 127 hours before he finally decided to cut his own arm off, and so he could free himself and escape and live. Pretty incredible story, pretty incredible movie, so check that out. But don't watch it before you go there. Maybe watch it after you go to Canyonlands. So again, Moab is kind of that red rock kind of scenery. They have something called Slick Rock there, very famous for like mountain biking. So if you're big in the outdoors, mountain biking, hiking, all these national parks, especially the Red Rock areas of St. George, Monument Valley, Moab, absolutely beautiful. You have to check these out. So you're here down here in St. George. We're just gonna kind of make our way north of the state, okay? So St. George, take I-15 up, and then you hit Cedar City. So Cedar City has Southern Utah University there. And then also it's kind of known for a Shakespearean festival that they hold every year. Pretty popular. So they get a lot of tourists during that time of year. Over here is Bryan Head. This is another resort. They actually do ski here. I think this was actually one of the first ski resorts open in the state of Utah. So I've never been out there, but again, I've heard absolutely beautiful things about it. Okay, I just kind of messed that up. So once you've kind of seen Moab, kind of this Lake Powell, Monument Valley, St. George, Cedar City area, there's a lot more, it's a lot more rural, a lot less populated here in what I call central Utah, okay? So if we kind of look at a map of all the counties here, we kind of break up Utah into three sections. You get northern, central, and southern Utah. So we kind of draw a line right across here after Utah County, and we'll try and draw a line across here. So this is what we call southern Utah, so that's where St. George, kind of Lake Powell, and then that Monument Valley is over there. Moab is over here, and then so this is central Utah. This is what we call northern Utah, okay? So what we do is there is part of the Rocky Mountains in Utah and what we call the Wasatch Range, which kind of extends from the border of Utah and Idaho, stretches down to this green, goes into central Utah. Okay, so that's the Wasatch Mountain Range. And then this one across here is called the Uintah Range. The Uintah Range actually has the highest elevation point in Utah, and it's at Kings Peak. So let's see if we can find that one real quick. So this is Uintah Mountains, and right there, Kings Peak. And it even says highest mountain in Utah. So the Uintahs are just absolutely beautiful. If you go and want to do a lot of hiking, fishing, biking, you need to go check out the Uintahs. The unfortunate thing is during the winters, they don't plow this major road, Mirror Lake Highway, during the winter time. So they actually close the road during when it starts to get significant snowfall. So we can actually see that here. If I click on the traffic button, let's see if it pulls it up. Yep. So there it is. Oh, disappeared. So starting kind of right here, there is like a restaurant or a hotel or something, right? Where they, yeah, so Soapstone Summer Homes. So right there is where the gate is at. And it goes all the way up to the Wyoming border where they close that road. So let's see, zoom out a little bit so we won't just drag. So they close it all the way up to this border here. So in the wintertime, once it starts snowing, you can't get up there unless you have like snowmobiles or some kind of vehicle like that to get around. But you can see in the summertime, there are just tons and tons of these lakes that you can go camping, fishing, hiking around, and some of the most beautiful views are here up in the Uintah Mountains. So if you are looking for somewhere to go camping in the summer or fishing, definitely check that out. It is higher in elevation, so it does get a little cooler. So I would check the temperatures and stuff so you are prepared for whatever the weather may bring at that time. All right, so let's go back here. So let's go back to the counties and I'll show you. So that Wasatch Range is kind of like right here, okay? And about 75% of Utah's population lives right here, right in this area. So between Weber, Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties is where about 75% of Utah's population lives. And 85% of the population lives within 15 miles of the Wasatch Range. So that kind of shows you like these areas over here are not as populated. And so when you're looking, if you are looking to move to Utah and you are, say, going to be, or you want to be kind of where all the happenings are at, kind of looking at Weber, Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah County, if you want a little more space, a little more land, not so many people, you can start looking in these other areas, but you just have to be aware what resources, stores, gas, stuff like that, what's available in those areas. But you can, somewhere like out here in Tooele, yes, it looks like Thule, or I don't know, it's pronounced Tooele. They are building a lot more out there, and there is quite a bit of homes, and beautiful homes for fairly cheaper than, say, Salt Lake or Park City especially. They do have something out here called the Utah Motor Sports Park. I believe it's still called. It's been sold, but let's see if it shows up on here. So it's up here. So Utah Motor Sports Park. So this is actually a racetrack out there in Tooele. And there's also like go-karting and stuff like that. So pretty cool place to go check out. The go-karts are really fun. And then there's this Deseret Peak complex where they actually have like concerts and different things out there. But yeah, so if you want to be kind of by the city, but not really. So here's Salt Lake. Kind of take this I-80, and then you got Stansbury Park, Tooele, and Grantsville. These are kind of up and coming, newer builds are coming out there. There's a lot more land available, horse property, stuff like that in those areas. So definitely somewhere to check out. Word of caution is in the wintertime, it does seem to snow a lot. Say more here than say downtown Salt Lake. And this I-80 can get congested or closed at times because there's a lot of semi trucks and stuff that travel, because this I-80 is the main freeway that runs east and west in the state. And so if something happens right there, you can't get to Salt Lake unless you go all the way around, right? So Utah County kind of ends right here at Sanquin. So the next major kind of city is Provo. This is where Brigham Young University is at. You do have Utah Lake right here, which is big, beautiful place. And then you're getting a lot more building out west, right? So mountains kind of limit how far east they have been able to build, but there are some beautiful, beautiful, ginormous homes going up on the east, but also like this city called Vineyard. And then if you go on the other side here, Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain, there is some brand new neighborhoods and buildings going on that a little bit cheaper because it is a little more west, but you can get more kind of bang for your buck out in those areas. So kind of moving north from Provo, you got Orem. There's a Utah Valley University there. And you kind of get into this area. So this is kind of the tech boom, almost Silicon Slopes instead of Silicon Valley like in California. They got Silicon Slopes. And this right here, let's see this, draw a line. So right here, this area is called the point of the mountain. So if you are out here and they ever say like at the point of the mountain, that is right here. It kind of divides Salt Lake County and Utah County, okay? Wow, look at that handwriting, that's beautiful. So right there, It's the point of the mountain, and that is Salt Lake in Utah County. So once you kind of move north here, get into Utah County or Salt Lake County. So again, everything's kind of moving west. There's some new builds going up on the mountainside, and those are big, beautiful homes. But kind of out here, Harriman, there's South Jordan. Let's see, right here, South Jordan, kind of this Daybreak area. There's some beautiful homes out here. This Daybreak community is pretty cool. Maybe we'll do a video on that specifically. But it's got its own unique feel. It's got its own man-made lakes there that you can surf, boat. They're making another water feature out there where you can tube and do different things. So pretty cool community out there. So then you start to move north from there, and you get into Salt Lake City. So this is Salt Lake here. You get the Salt Lake International Airport a little more west on the west side here. So again, here's that I-15 running north and south. I-80 is the main freeway running east and west. So you can kind of see it there. If you actually take I-80 more east, you get into Park City. Okay, so here's Park City. You do get Jordanelle Reservoir there, and then all of those kind of ski resorts and everything associated with Park City, such as Deer Valley. You do have Brighton, Alta, Solitude. So right here in this area, there's a lot, Snowbird, a lot of resorts. If you are a big skier or hike in the summertime, go biking, those are very popular areas to go, and it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, Utah just in general is beautiful, but so there's this Jordanelle, kind of this reservoir here. There is also one called Deer Creek Reservoir, okay? And then there's also one called Strawberry Reservoir. So all of those are pretty popular, both summer and winter, believe it or not. So I ice fish, and so going to these areas for ice fishing, especially Strawberry Reservoir, definitely something to check out. There's some big fish in Strawberry. So if you're interested in ice fishing, let me know, hit me up. Maybe I'll take you out one day. Okay, so once you get here, this is where kind of Salt Lake County and Davis County split, okay? So North Salt Lake is actually in Davis County. Kind of weird, I know. North Salt Lake is in Davis County, but Davis County is a very nice kind of just north of Salt Lake, so just north of the big city. A lot of people do live in Davis County and commute to Salt Lake City for work. So I-15 can get pretty congested during kind of rush hour times, but I mean, it's Utah. There's only 3.27 million people that live here, and so it's not like a LA or anything. You do have periods of time where the traffic gets kind of congested, but it's only for a couple hours, and then like if you're traveling at 10, 11 o'clock during the day, not bad at all. So and then once you get here, kind of this Roy area starts Weber County, and that goes up to here to kind of Willard. So then again, kind of this Weber County area is another kind of popular place. So here, this big gray spot says Hill Air Force Base. So a lot of people kind of right here that I've got in the screen kind of work. There's a lot of people, kind of Air Force or civilian people who work on base that live in this area. So if you're moving out here because you're being relocated to Hill Air Force Base for the military, definitely check out these areas. So Syracuse, Clearfield, Clinton, Roy, Hooper, West Haven, Riverdale, all of those areas, Layton, because especially a little more out west, you can find a little more affordable housing or more bang for your buck housing. And there's a lot more newer builds out west as well. So definitely check that out if you're coming to Hill Air Force Base. We actually helped someone sell their house who was an F-35 pilot, and they decided to buy when they got stationed here. And they made some good money because of the economy and everything else, but they made that smart decision to invest and buy a home here. Even though they were only here for 2 years, they still made some good money because they decided to invest and then they bought out west, and so got a good home for the price, and then was able to sell it for even more because they bought in a good area. So So then once you kind of get past Weber County, you get into like Box Elder County, and then you got Logan up here in Cache Valley. So this is where Utah State University is. Kind of the next biggest city up north is Logan. A lot of new builds going on up there. So you got Hyde Park, North Logan, Whalesville, these areas, Smithfield. These are some very up and coming new builds are coming in those areas. So if you are looking to move towards the Logan area, definitely check out those areas. Then kind of the last kind of big area that people like to go visit, go on vacation from, like kind of that live here in the state, is here in Bear Lake. Beautiful kind of turquoise color of water, kind of unique, and it's such a large lake that if you have a boat out there, you don't feel crowded, unless of course you're right by the popular docks or where people go. So like this Rendezvous Beach is quite popular, and then right here along Garden City is also quite popular. Yeah, so I guess I'll point out here real quick, Utah, there is no state lotto, and so what people do is they actually drive up here to Moab City to get their lotto tickets, so that's pretty popular. Or people will go out to Evanston, Wyoming out here, so you'll take the I-80 out to Evanston. So just a little FYI about that. All right, so there you guys have it, a little breakdown of what Utah is like from north to south, kind of everything in between, where are the popular tourist spots, and then where do most people actually live within the state. So if you have any questions or any further comments that you want to know about the state, or what different areas, specific areas or cities are like, give us a call, send us a text, send us an email, or even just give us a comment here, leave a comment below, and we will love to answer those questions. So until next time, you guys, we'll see you later.